here in chapter 14, we have a connection going all the way back to Jesus' birth. If you remember, there when he was a young child, the wise men came and visited him. There could have been many wise men, but there were three important gifts delivered: gold, frankincense, and myrrh, each representing certain aspects of his nature and his ministry here on earth. Gold representing his kingly nature, frankincense representing his high priest function, and myrrh was anticipating and foreshadowing his death and burial. This woman here in our passage is doing something very similar. In this week leading up to Jesus' crucifixion, Mary, she's identified in John, this is Mary, the sister of Lazarus, is coming in and is anointing Jesus with this expensive perfume, this type of oil. And in doing so, it's again foreshadowing and anticipating his burial later in the week. Now, think about the context, because the disciples' reaction was not good. They couldn't believe that this extravagant gift was being poured out on Jesus. It's identified as being well over 300 denarii, which would be comparable to an entire year's salary. Think about someone in our church deciding to buy a vehicle for one of our teachers. Now, maybe this teacher was in need. Maybe they actually had a legitimate need for a vehicle, and yet this person purchased a $75,000 vehicle. It could have been intended to be a blessing. Maybe it was a way of honoring this person, but you can imagine some people objecting to the extravagance of the gift. The question might have been raised, why the Mercedes? Why not just a Honda? Do you know how many Hondas or how many vehicles you could have bought for that amount of money? Do you know how many people that you could have fed and clothed for that type of money? Why this extravagance? Well, that's what's going on here. Judas is the main spokesperson here of this objection. In John chapter 12, he's really called out even harsher. It says that he is not motivated by the poor. He's motivated by his own self-interest. It says that he's a thief and that he was in charge of the money box and that he was also guilty of stealing from this money box. So he's not so much concerned with the poor, but his own poor pocket. Sometimes when people make objections, they may sandwich it in an air of self-righteousness or good intentions. But oftentimes it's just a Trojan horse for people to put in their objections or their critique or their opinions in something that sounds good. So let's guard our hearts here. Let's make sure that not only the words coming out of our mouth are right, but also the motivation and intention of our heart, and make sure that those thoughts are sanctified unto the Lord. Mary's heart here was in the right place. She had the right motivations. She couldn't help because she knew who Jesus was. She knew what Jesus did for her and her family. And this gratitude just resulted in this great sacrifice. So the antidote to selfishness is selflessness and sacrifice. Jesus gives us the greatest example of both. My hope today is that you will follow in Jesus' example in your life. Pray about that today and see how the Lord will lead you.